Good afternoon, listeners. You are back with Sister to Sister Talks, and we are just continuing from what we talked about last Monday and just sharing with you today the powers of mentoring. Last week, we talked about your why being so strong that you can actually achieve most things and actually anything that you put your mind to, regardless of whether there's a pandemic or something comes through in your life. We just say if your why is so strong, your why should make you cry, your why should be so strong that you can be able to achieve anything. And that's what we talked about last week. So with a mentor enables you to actually do that. So we thought it would be good to link last week's session with this week's and talk about the power of mentoring today. Again, we want it to be as interactive as possible.
Yeah.
And we want you to text in the studio. You can do that on WhatsApp, and I'll give you that number, which is 07440 We also want to speak to you, so give us a call on 01902 972 150. That's 01902 972 150. So, what's a mentor then, Shan?
Okay, so mentoring really, it's about having someone to guide and inspire and really kind of develop your skill set, your strengths. Ideally, it's someone who can impart their expertise, their wisdom, with someone who's less experienced. So that would be the mentee. Really trying to, hone in on their skills and then, trying to advance them in the best way that they possibly can. I also think that a mentor can really use their professionalism, if it's someone that's younger, to kind of draw out any characteristics that they feel the mentee should excel in. So I think in that sense that the mentor really is there as a go-to person who's advanced in a particular area to develop the strengths and skill sets of the one that's looking for that opportunity. Really.
And do you think that should be do you think you should get a mentor at a particular age, or
the younger the better?
Thinking about
the
it,
younger the better.
Thinking about it, I think that when I was younger, I was quite fortunate really, because I actually can recall a couple of people who I could actually go to for to have conversations for some direction. And I recall one of them being at the youth club.
Yep.
And another one was a relative who I used to talk to quite often.
Right.
I think at that time when I was a teenager, I didn't actually give them the label as a mentor, because I didn't actually realise what a mentor was at that time.
Yeah.
But upon reflection, I definitely can see that they were mentors for me in terms of them being older than me, having their lived experiences, being able to impart that, that knowledge.
Yeah.
Especially when I was going through things, school, relationships,
Yeah.
all those different things. And they actually could have, they put me in the right direction, but objectively.
So how were they different to maybe your family or your parents or those that were, you were living with?
Oh, you know what that's like, don't you? Sometimes you can't really speak to relatives, and albeit you've got excellent relationships with parents, sisters, and what have you, and I had a really good relationship with my mum as well, and still do.
Yeah.
It's not everything that you would want to tell them.
Okay.
But when you've got that confidential go-to,
Yeah.
It then just enables you then to kind of release certain things, and just and also as well, because they're objective, they might ask you the questions that you possibly might not really want to have to answer,
or even
they will challenge you, wouldn't they? Yeah.
And I suppose as well they've got your best interests at heart
as well.
So obviously your parents have as well, but if you're going to someone who is kind of impartial, the information is going to be authentic. Maybe your parents might be biased, depending on what it is that you're going to.
That's right. And you don't want somebody when you're going through obstacles or barriers, challenges, you don't want a yes person, or someone that's just going to tell you what you would, what you want to hear.
Right.
You want to have that person to actually hold you accountable to your actions.
Yeah.
And I think a mentor does that. And when I think back of when I was younger, that is what I was getting.
Right.
But what I have seen is that when young, especially ethnic minority females as well, don't have that kind of influence in their lives, positive influences, then, sometimes it can really go downhill. And I've actually witnessed, like, firsthand,
Right.
that downward spiral whereby there isn't positive influences. And I think it's really important.
Okay, so is it, would you say that in terms of mentoring, it's just for, those who are challenging or got, particular issues as such? Can a mentor come into your life for something, that's quite academic or quite personal? It doesn't necessarily have to be something that's quite, like a barrier or a challenge, for example.
Oh, definitely. I think that you should have a mentor for all aspects of your life.
Okay.
And you don't have to have one mentor. As I said, different aspects of your life, you have a different person that you could potentially speak to. So, someone that can help you with, like, academically with your studies, someone that can help you with your career path and how you want to travel with that.
Yeah.
Somebody that helps you
Health,
fitness,
finance.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Okay, so you mentioned obviously that you had kind of go-to people, and in terms of myself, I wouldn't necessarily say that I did.
Okay.
I was quite close with teachers, but outside of school, I wouldn't really say that I had that.
So that's good, because you've got a different
perspective.
That's right. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that then, because actually I'd like to know.
Yeah. So in terms of, like, a go-to person, I had relatives that that I'd like to speak to as such, but I was quite a shy young person, and I kept a lot of things to myself.
Okay.
And I kind of navigated teen years, just on my own, really. And that wasn't because there weren't people around. I was just that child that just didn't speak about things. So looking back, maybe some of the situations that I perhaps got myself into, if there was that secure person that had my best interests at heart, that maybe, some of the issues and challenges that I faced as a teen, typical stuff, may not have gone the way that they ended up going.
Yeah, or you would have dealt with them differently.
Definitely. So I think, the benefits of a mentor really are crucial, because, they can talk to you about your problems, set future goals. Like you said, you had a youth worker that was helping yourself as well.
Yeah.
And as well, when you're going through puberty and all those types of things, your self-esteem, and you're probably feeling a bit anxious and, worried or concerned about, your hormones and things like that. I think as a teenager, sometimes you can't have those conversations with your mom, or it might be a little bit awkward. So again, that support and that go-to person is beneficial, isn't it?
And I think when you think as well about, like, how things are nowadays compared to how they were when we were younger, with social media and all those things now, and the fact that, young people are very much more or less worshipping idols on social media, people that they've never met, but just from following them on social media, they're aspiring to them.
Absolutely.
And they haven't got a clue what these people are doing, like, in their outside lives, because obviously on social media you just put on there what you want people to see,
of
don't
course,
you?
Yes.
You don't ever put your down days
That's
on
it,
there. And I just think when you've got someone that can help you look at those and actually really put those people into perspective. Then that helps build you as an individual as well.
Yeah.
And so for me, for teens now, 13 to 21, even younger than that, I think it's absolutely, as you said, crucial for to have that stability and that person that can, basically put them on the right path and actually, not say don't look at social media, but actually,
in content
and with a sufficient balance.
That's it.
That's right.
And, mentoring isn't just about talking. It's obviously about, engaging and supporting and being there as that go-to person. So whilst conversations might take place, it's not just a case of, constant talking. It's actually action as well, isn't it? And putting things into place. I also think as well, a good mentor will be able to build on life skills, help with confidence in social settings, if that's something that, young people struggle with. And like we said, overcoming like any other difficulties as well. In terms of, specifics, in terms of like behaviour, perhaps, if a mentor has got that skill set to develop behaviour, so maybe if a teen's maybe not going to, like, truanting from school or answering parents back, maybe use of foul language or anything like that, how do you think a mentor could instill positive behaviour traits?
Oh, one moment. We've just got a message.
Oh,
come through.
perfect. Okay.
We'll go back to that in a moment.
Yeah.
So we've got a question, and it says, my daughter is 20 and studying law at university.
Right.
And I was just listening to what you guys are saying and wanted to know if a mentor would benefit her in knowing what she wants to do going forward,
Okay.
looking at her age and stage of life.
So her next steps.
Her next steps, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
can we answer that or?
Yeah, carry on.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, definitely a mentor will help. I think earlier on in the show, we were just saying that mentors at different stages of your life can really, really help. And I think is really important. So if your daughter had a mentor, was at university, then that person could actually spend time with her kind of scoping out where she wants to go. Because even at university, and when I think of myself at university, you still don't 100% know that the course that you're studying is definitely your right career path.
And all the options in around that as
Around
well.
that, that's right. And yeah, because obviously there's plans A, there's plan B, there's different routes into different
Absolutely.
things, and a mentor can help, would help your daughter to be able to channel her mind about how she navigates that her path out, through university, and then also outside of that. Again, while she's at university, mentors can help her with goal setting so that she can prioritize workloads and things like that, because we know that with the volume of work that you get while you're at university, and then also the outside distractions as well, that could happen. Unfortunately, university students probably haven't been getting much of that lately with COVID, but hopefully things still start to pick up. But like outside distractions, having a good time, that kind of thing can actually impact upon how you prioritize your workloads. A mentor can also help your daughter through that as well. And again, studying law. You mentioned that your daughter's studying law. I'm a lawyer as well. So, again, Chantel mentions about professional. So I'm a lawyer by qualification and profession. And that means then that if your daughter had someone that does a similar background to what she's trying to achieve, they can help give her guidance around that as well. Again, explore different options. So that links into what Chantel was saying about there can be a professional mentor that can help with pathways.
And just to kind of add on to that, so my background's I'm a primary school teacher, but in terms of having that mentor at university stage, I've left the teaching profession and had someone come into university and told me all about the different things that I could do with my teaching qualification. I think that would have been quite insightful.
Yeah.
Because you go to uni to become a teacher in my case, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
But actually, there's been so many different roles that I've done since leaving teaching profession. So it's about being able to have a mentor, perhaps, to say, well, you've learnt this particular skill at university, your values, how's it shaped you, how's it changed you, and using those skills as well to actually say, I came to do this, but I found I'm really good at something else along the way, and maybe looking at alternatives as well, because just because you've got that degree in that particular thing, you can use it in all different ways. Yeah. So
and just adding to that, Chantel, as well, it's also the lived experience, isn't it, of that individual. So for you now, mentoring somebody that's doing teaching or says that they want to be a teacher, you would then share your experiences with them.
Yeah, and
and that's amazing.
Definitely. So I hope that's answered your question.
Thank you for that. If there are any other questions, please fire them through or to the WhatsApp text 07440 420 432 again, or give us a call. We really do want to encourage you to phone in, and we can have a conversation with you. Then that's brilliant.
Perfect. So just kind of touching on what we were saying about other ways that mentors can help. So we've said, positive behaviour, goal aspirations, confidence, communication, and perhaps study skills that we mentioned at university.
Planning, goal setting.
Perfect.
We mentioned about goal setting, didn't we?
Yeah. Great. So I know obviously we've touched upon having different mentors for different areas of your life. So that's not just for young people as well, it's for adults as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what kind of areas in your life might you have a mentor for, would you say?
It's kind of the same things.
Okay.
It's the same things really, because when you go into adulthood, obviously your priorities change.
Yeah.
but still you've got, you know, careers to navigate. You've got you just general finances. You can have a mentor in that field as well.
Yeah.
You might even want just someone to mentor you through parenthood. Parenting.
That's it.
That's right. Yeah.
Definitely.
Because we know that there's no one, you know, there's different perspectives, isn't there, in terms of parenting. Yeah. And it's good to see how one person might do something differently and get you to think about you know, different ways in which you can you raise your children and a family.
Yeah, definitely.
Spiritual as well, isn't there?
Yeah, so, you know, if you're spiritual or you connected to a particular faith, again, having a mentor who can help you navigate some questions that you might have in around that is always going to be beneficial as well. So along our development of Sister to Sister, we looked at the different types of mentors that can really impact our lives as the co-founders and directors, and obviously we impart that knowledge onto our young people.
Yeah.
So there's different type of mentors, and I think we're just going to explain a couple of them really. So the first kind of mentor is maybe the master of your craft. So this is someone that you probably turn to when you think about launching a new idea or a new initiative, and they should really kind of help you realise your own strengths. So having that go-to person when you've got an idea, you know, who's that first person you would call or go to, just to kind of test the water.
So are you saying that person will be someone that maybe is already doing that particular thing that you want to go into?
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, someone who, you know, you've had an idea on something you want to do and you're going to pick up the phone or call this particular person because they are really good at kind of helping you unpick this amazing idea that you might think's amazing, but actually, you know, they might confirm that, or they're actually, you need to go away
and look at it again and reflect on what you're doing, or look at it from a different angle.
Definitely. So that kind of mentor is someone that we'd probably say, you know, is a master of the craft, really. Another kind of mentor that you could have is someone who champions your cause. So this is someone who speaks highly of you when you're not around. You know, it's always good to have someone like that in your circle, because if they're in the right room and you're not there, they can have conversations that will actually, you know, draw some of your qualities and skills out in a different environment as well. In
the working environment, they can call that as well, like your sponsor. So a sponsor it is slightly different to like a mentor, but it's similar what you're saying in terms of the fact that that person knows about your abilities. They believe in you. This sponsor in the workplace is someone that will be relatively senior, that will be sitting at the tables and in the conversations that you won't necessarily be in.
That's right.
But what they'll do is, if they know there's any projects coming up or anything that can further your development, they'll put you forward because they've got the confidence in your abilities.
Oh, like a bit of an advocate, really, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. So it is always good and worthwhile if you haven't got somebody like that in the workplace, or even like in school, even as well, because you know, teachers will know of other things that are going on.
That's right.
That you could then put yourself, you know, speak to them to say, can you be my sponsor? You know that I've been doing X, Y, and Z. Really want to progress, or really want to get involved in a different area of the business. You know, put me forward.
And they'll tend to introduce you to, like, you know, people in that industry or what have you. So yeah, definitely someone who will champion your cause is a different type of mentor that you could have as well. And following on from what we've just spoken about, you know, another type of mentor that you could have is kind of like your work best friend, so to speak. Or if you're in the school environment, you know, someone there that's really kind of like a co-pilot, so to speak. And they really help you to kind of navigate any issues or concerns. So they're your go-to person in the workplace to kind of vent and share how things are going.
So would that be like peer mentoring?
It's like peer mentoring, yeah, absolutely.
So there'd be someone that's kind of like more or less like same as me, same level as me, but just can give a different aspect to things that I'm going through, or ways that how I want to venture forward.
Yeah. And like you said, you know, you're both committed to supporting one another, collaborating with each other, holding each other accountable. So you probably would actually be at the same level.
A bit similar to you and I.
It is, and you know, we do, don't we?
Yeah.
In all different guises, we come to each other for various things. You know, so health,
Bits
finance,
yeah, that's right.
parenting. So that's another type of mentor that you could have. And also, there are mentors that you can have that don't actually work in your industry. So this could be like a friend or a family member. You know, they're there to support you, almost like an anchor, really.
Yeah.
So, you know, they don't actually have to be someone that's in your chosen field, but actually it's someone that you go to like a sounding board as well.
That's probably better as well, isn't it, really? It has its advantages because that person isn't in your chosen field, but they can give the objective outlook, the outsider
That's
perspective
right.
on what
Definitely.
you're going through.
Definitely.
And also as well, you can speak to that person about certain things that are going on in your organisation that you probably wouldn't necessarily say to someone that's within your organisation.
right.
So it gives you more of that freedom for speech as well,
does.
doesn't it?
And you know that this person's completely impartial because they don't know your industry, they don't know your line of work. So you know you are getting a different stance on certain things as well.
Yes.
Definitely. And then also you've got the reverse mentor. So, you know, when you think of a mentor, you think of someone that's perhaps older or a teacher or someone of more experience than yourself. But it's also important to think about, you know, how the person how the person you're mentoring can also support your development as well. I know at Sister to Sister, we mentor young girls between the ages of 13 and 21. And quite often, you know, when we reflect on our conversations and things like that, we actually get so much insight.
It's very insightful. It is.
Gives us fresh perspectives on, you know, how we can develop some of the concepts and things that young people are experiencing as well. So it's important really as well that if you have got someone who's younger than you, not to dismiss them as a mentor, because actually they can bring new ideas and, you know, perhaps challenge your leadership style if you're in the
That's
workplace.
right, yeah. And I've done that as well, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a reverse mentor in the workplace. Somebody that was like of a lower grade from me in a different area of profession than me as well. And I found it really, really useful because, as you said, about you like challenging your leadership styles and leadership skills, and it from the whole experience, it gave me the opportunity to kind of like reflect on certain practices and just kind of like grow as an individual from taking feedback and accepting feedback, constructive feedback from others who might not be necessarily like at the same grade or peers to me as well. So I think it's definitely a good thing to explore from a growth point of view.
Definitely. And age isn't actually a factor, is it, when it comes to mentoring?
Definitely not.
You know, someone, if you're trying to advance in a particular area or field and someone you know who's younger than you, who's actually achieved or has got expertise or knowledge in that area that you want to excel or grow in, there is no harm in actually turning to that person and getting the advice and support that you need. Don't let the fact that they're younger make you feel as though you can't go to that person.
No, you've got some young people with some really wise heads, haven't you?
That's it. So it's important to, you know, seek those out as well.
Okay, so we have got a question come through.
Okay, perfect.
On the text.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll have enough time before our first break.
We're fine.
Okay, so the question is, how would you know the amount of mentoring that someone would need? Would you give advice on that in a session, or is it dependent upon the individual? So I think if you can just try and answer that, Chantel, in terms of what we do at Sister to Sister, but also just generally with a mentoring relationship.
Perfect. So, yeah, from the onset, we have a conversation about the types of things that the young person is wanting to achieve with us. Mentoring isn't supposed to be, you know, forever and ever and ever. There does come a point where that young person does need to transition and, you know, use the skills that we've worked with them to develop themselves. It's a bespoke program. You know, one young person might have more sessions to build their confidence than another young person. So we don't put young people into a box. Everything is individualized to meet their needs of what they want. But the ultimate goal is actually to give them the skills and the confidence to equip them to become the best versions of themselves without needing a mentor. Because, you know, the whole aim is to progress and challenge and support. And it might be that they then have another mentor once they
I was just going to say that
sister to sister, isn't it?
When they transition into another part as well. But we at Sister to Sister, we do have different programs. We have like a 3-month, a 6-month, a 12-month program, which is, as we say, it does come to an end, and it might be that either you do need to move on to another mentor, or you need to take out further sessions as well. So they do have that flexibility with Sister to Sister.
And sorry.
No, just go on. Sorry.
Yeah, and even if you have taken a 3-month mentoring program with ourselves, it's not to say that at the end of that 3 months, when we do our reviews, 'cause that's part of our process as well, we check in, and some people just need the 3-month sessions. It's something that's quite compact, and you can always extend that should we need to as well.
But just generally, mentoring, as you said,
is for everybody.
Is for everyone.
We're going to go to a break now.
Hello, I'm Leanne Bood from the Royal Wolverhampton NHS Trust charity.
Welcome back, listeners. You're listening to Ramadan Radio Wolves 87.9 FM. You're with Sister to Sister Talks, and we are talking today about the power of mentoring. Before the break, we were talking about the value really of mentoring, and that mentoring can assist an adult, a young person at very different stages of their lives, and that the mentoring relationship will evolve but does come to an end, whereby it's then time for the young person or adult to transition into other areas, or even just achieve the objective that they wanted to achieve. So what we're going to do in this next half is just basically talk to you and tell you about what we do with Sister to Sister in terms of mentoring. Just to quickly outline for those of you who don't know Sister to Sister, we are a social enterprise, not-for-profit organisation who works with ethnic minority females between the ages of 13 to 21, equipping them with the skills that they need through personal development techniques to basically achieve the best version of themselves that they can be. I'd say that was a fair summary, wouldn't you?
Definitely. Yeah, sounds almost rehearsed. Yes, it is.
Brilliant. Yeah. Okay, so what our mentoring program is called the Big Sister program, isn't it? And we call it the Big Sister program for a reason, because our mentors are actually like big sisters to our mentees, insofar as they will be relatable to them. They will share their lived experiences with them. They will challenge them to grow. So that's why we call it the Big Sister
we wanted
program.
That sense of unity, didn't we? Like, someone actually who's side by side, so like that big sister, rounded, person to really be there for the young people.
That's right. Definitely. And as you said, it gives a kind of sense of like unity, familial type closeness, right. And yes. So that's why we call it the Big Sister program, which is a fair reflection of the relationship that the mentor and mentee will embark upon. So when we think about the phases of a mentoring relationship, it goes through 4 different phases.
Right.
So the first phase, which is the most important phase as far as I'm concerned, really, is the building the relationship.
Okay, so what does that look like?
So why I say building the relationship is the most important part, Chantel, is because for me, that is where you're actually building the trust of the reciprocal, both ways. Mentor and mentee are building trust with each other. Given that's the stage whereby confidentiality is set out and confirmed. Now, confidentiality, it's a difficult one, really, because insofar as you want that mentor, that young person to trust you, and be open as they can be, possibly as open as possible as they can be. But there is a line that needs to be drawn there.
Definitely.
So in Sister to Sister, and it will be the same across any other mentoring relationship. And if there's any safeguarding issues that do arise, then there is an obligation upon that mentor to actually take that forward or signpost accordingly.
Definitely.
So that's something that we will do. So we won't report on the details of the conversation that we've had, the everyday conversation that we have with our mentor. But when we do identify any safeguarding issues, then obviously we have to take a different course.
That's right.
So that's the building the relationship part of it. So during that building relationship, you're going to be identifying ways whereby you can empower and support that young person.
Okay.
So following on from the building relationship, it then goes into the setting direction phase.
Yeah.
So again, this is an important part, because setting direction is where you talked earlier, really, in terms of identifying those bespoke needs of the individual. What's needed, yes. What's needed, what are the boundaries, what's the action plan that we can kind of like put in place, and what's the goal, what's the priorities. And that's where in Sister to Sister, we then start having to, after the build and rapport stage, we've gotten to know you. So we've then started to I highlight and identify certain aspects from those conversations that we can then start to put into an action plan.
Yeah, great.
So
it also helps it to be measurable. Once you know your starting point, you don't have a mentoring relationship, you don't know where you're going and how it can be measured.
Yeah.
So you're right, this part is actually really crucial, because once you've established the actions, the goals, it's something that can, it's like a check-in, isn't it? Every now and then we have a check-in point where we actually go back to this point and actually check that we're making progress against the against the things that we're measuring.
Because then how do you measure success? How do we know that at the end of it,
That's
it was a
right.
successful mentoring relationship without this
That
without
bit
this
taking
particular?
place.
That's right.
Perfect.
Yeah. So in the setting direction stage, we might set tasks. We might even push you out the comfort zone. We talked about comfort zone a lot last week, whereby we said in order for you to expand your comfort zone, you've got to be uncomfortable and do things that you might not ordinarily do or think that it's possible for you to achieve. So a mentor will push you,
And
a
should.
good, as I was just about to say, and a good mentor should do that.
That's right.
So we'll start to think about things from things that you've said. We'll start thinking about who can we introduce you to. We might pull in like an expert to talk through like how a young person can start to budget and their finances and things like that. So we might pull in experts to be able to take you through things like that as well.
And I suppose one of the advantages of having a sister-to-sister mentor is our wealth of networks between us. So we've got a strong network of individuals and organisations that we also work with that really can support the young people, can't they?
That's right. Yes. So we've set in direction. We've identified what the focus points are and the key measurables.
Yeah.
And that's all takes place within the setting direction phase.
Okay.
Following that, we then start to look at progression.
Right.
So progression is when we start to share experiences. Again, that's backward, that's reciprocal, that's two-way.
Yep.
So the mentor will share experiences, and also the young person, the mentee, will also share their experiences. Again, you're still building relationships here and building rapport. It's ongoing the whole way through, because actually this theme of getting to know the individual is pertinent really to the overall success of the mentoring relationship. We will review your progress. You mentioned that earlier on, didn't you?
Yeah, so
What ways do we
surveys,
do that?
evaluation forms, and we might just say at the end of a session, what have you taken from the session? How would you rate the session? What are you going to implement as a result of today's session? So the check-in and the progression is ongoing. It's not something that's just done, at specific stages of the mentoring agreement, so to speak. We're constantly making sure that our main aim is to add value to that young person's life.
That's
and
right.
if we're not adding value, we're not doing a good job. So therefore, consistently we're asking, what are you taking from it? How are you going to implement it into your life? So it's ongoing assessment, so to speak.
I suppose the good thing is about the reviewing the progress is you also identify new issues as well.
That's
don't
right.
you?
Yeah, and always adapting and changing. The action plan that was set.
That's right. Okay, and so the final stage is actually the maturation stage. So the mentoring relationship is starting to mature. You're starting to achieve and realise some of the goals that you've set.
Okay.
So the young person then you actually you start to visibly see that growth in that young person. This is the point whereby we start to get feedback from parents to say that they've identified certain changes in behaviour. They've identified that there's confidence and increase in self-esteem. So those are the kind of feedback that we get from the parents, and this is what we'll get at that stage. And also I think, like Chantel said, that at the maturation stage, that might be the time whereby you're starting to either draw the mentoring relationship to a close, or actually starting to explore whether there's other mentors that then you need to transition
That's
to
right.
and replace this particular existing relationship. So those are the 4 stages that we take our mentees through.
Perfect. And just kind of touching on that, we've spoke about the fact that we do constant ongoing check-ins, so to speak, with our mentees, and one of the things that we really like to try and encourage our mentees to get into the habit of at the end of each session is perhaps saying, here's what I asked you, here's what you shared, here's what I did, now can I ask more questions?
Okay, so how does that work?
So the aim is that the sessions aren't just kind of fleeting sessions. They need to be worked towards the action plan that you spoke about earlier. So quite often the mentee will come to the session with some questions that they want answered.
Yeah.
So they've asked the questions on around, how can I improve my confidence, for example, might be something. Now, that's not necessarily going to get covered in one session, but it's something that they've been working on over a period of time. So they've asked, how can I improve my confidence? So maybe they've been working on affirmations. Maybe they've been working on, owning their day. Maybe they've been working on posture. Maybe they've been working on actually getting up and doing their hair.
Yeah.
Different things for different young people. So then, here's what you shared. So that's when they're telling us the examples that we've just given them, okay? Then they're going to say, here's what I did. So actually, you told me some ways that I could improve my confidence. This is what I did. This is how I've got on with it. And now can I ask some more questions? So I've done those things. Now actually, what next? It's really important to make the sessions tight and concise and actually progressive. We don't want to hinder the young person by not making sure that they're prepared for each session and that they can also see growth and development within themselves as well. So, we definitely encourage them to ask us questions to develop themselves as well.
I think did someone ask the question, I think last Monday, about what kind of things they didn't know. They asked a question about what kind of things we talk through and we work through with our young people.
They did.
So we might be able to touch a little bit upon that now in terms
definitely.
of what kind of things people bring to the table.
Okay.
I mean, I've got a mentee who is very forward thinking. She's only 14, but she already sees herself as working in the workplace, and she wants to develop the skills that she needs for future.
Yeah.
So I'm working with her to take those things forward, but also as well for her to still appreciate and harness really her teenage years. So but she wants to. We've talked about things like, well, what things is your parent doing at the moment that potentially as a 14, 15-year-old you could potentially be doing for yourself.
Yeah.
So we've set some tasks for her to do in the interim, whereby she might take over the paying of the shopping and speaking, having that actual liaison with a shop assistant.
Okay.
She is looking at things like booking her own appointments, so dental appointments and things like that. And they might seem like little things, but actually these are just general life skills that we as adults don't even give a thought to.
That's right.
But actually, as a younger person, you're relying on your parents to do that. But that's actually growing you to be able to interact at certain levels and socialise and improve your social skills.
And it's something that she said that she wants to develop. So that's perfect.
She's so excited to try them, Shan.
Oh, wow.
So I'm looking forward to our next session where she can give me the feedback to tell me how she got on with her shopping at Asda.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. And, that's just one example of, a mentor relationship that we've got with sister to sister. We've got a cohort of girls that come to us with various different, things that they're going through. And it doesn't always, we don't want you to think that when you have a mentor, it needs to be, because your child's misbehaving or your child's low self-esteem. We've got mentors, we've got mentees that are actually,
in really good places. Confidence.
Exactly. So sometimes it's actually about enhancing and developing the skills that they've already got. They might have friendship challenges. They might be quite assertive, but they want to, look at how they can develop that particular skill a little bit more. They might be excelling in lots of areas at school, but maybe struggling in one perhaps, or actually wanting just further developmental skills within school life as well. With the whole COVID and, a lot of year 11s haven't uncertain about their career paths and will college accept them now and what's happening with their grades and things like that. So that's, again, causing a little bit of anxiety with some of our mentees. So that's a conversation that comes up as well. We also have mentees who perhaps, for example, they want to do one particular career, but maybe family and traditions have may want them to do something else.
Yes.
So it's
That's
about
a popular one.
That fair balance whilst respecting the family's tradition and culture and things like that. It's also about speaking to the girls about having those conversations with their parents and building them up to actually
be able to have
those conversations. Quite often they're difficult, but also as well showcasing their skill sets to their family. So it might be that they want to do something that's quite creative, you know, with social media now. There's lots of roles that weren't around when our parents were growing up. So maybe like something on YouTube or doing podcasts or influencing, any those types of roles that parents might not actually have all the information about, but it's actually, you know, something that a young person might want to get into. So allowing them to have that freedom to speak openly and confidently to their family members about different career paths that they might want to explore.
And it's about what you said before, isn't it? It's about living to your values and to your passion as opposed to what might be through others, isn't
Definitely.
it? Yeah.
And, you know, that does take a lot of work because if they've been inherently told they need to do a particular role or work in a particular field.
It'd be something that's ingrained, wouldn't it? It'd be
is.
something that's been, you know, hammered through them throughout generations and also for like years as well. Like, you
it's
know,
instilled in them. And actually some of them are quite scared to tell their parents that they want to, you know, don't want to be an optician, they don't want to be...
They don't even want to go to university.
They don't want to, and they're so scared about that conversation. So we do help and support and encourage that conversation while still being respectful to the family's needs and what the family do want for their children as well.
Yeah.
Again, you know, having that voice to speak, because, you know, we've got that phrase in it, children should be seen and not heard. And actually, there's some negative connotations that can possibly come from that.
Did you have that phrase said to you? How many times have you had that phrase said to you when you was younger, Chantel?
Countless.
Children should be seen and not heard. And when you really, really drill down into that, children should be seen and not heard. It really does. I mean, because that's what I was growing up on.
Yeah.
And it contrasts, doesn't it, in terms of what we want to try and encourage.
That's right.
You want to try and encourage your child to be comfortable with you so that they can actually speak.
That's right.
You want your child to be heard.
Yeah.
But we were actually growing up whereby actually, you know, you don't speak unless you're spoken to.
That's right.
But then the downside to that is that you're growing children that are then afraid to actually speak in certain forums. And, you know, you don't want that, do you? You want to have a child that, you know, can speak up.
Definitely. So do you want to tell us some of the strategies that we use? So we've spoke about some of the types of scenarios that young people come to us with. So what strategies do we use at Sister to Sister to actually help them in overcoming and getting through some of the things that we've just mentioned?
So we challenge, we ask open-ended questions, we give them the space so that they can speak. I mean, even in a session, there will be times when I will say to my mentee, I'm just not going to speak for about a minute or 2 minutes. I'm just going to listen. And the amount of information, it's uncomfortable. I'll tell them it's uncomfortable that you're going to be speaking to me and I'm not going to be saying anything, but I'm actually listening. Now, listening is so crucial. And even for me, as a mentor, and at the stage in my life that I am, I'm still growing to listen. And each mentoring relationship, each interaction that I have with the young person, that helps me in terms of my development as well, about listening to listen, not listening
to respond.
That's right. Not listening to think, oh, what am I going to say next? Because then you just don't get to hear what they're saying. So we listen with purpose. We will work through problem solving strategies.
Okay.
And what we'll do is through the questioning, through the talking, we will actually arrive at a solution with that young person that in a way that they've actually provided the solution themselves without realizing. Yeah. And that is a technique. It's a technique.
It is.
Because, you know, more often than not, you actually have got the solution, but you just need that person to navigate you through the different thoughts of thinking that you've got. So so we do that, and we encourage excellence.
Yes.
So that's a main thing. You know, we have empowerment programs that we deliver in schools and in the communities. That's all about making our young people know, our young females know that they can do anything.
Yeah.
As I said, I tell my 4-year-old and 6-year-old that they can do anything. They'll repeat that all the time. We can do anything. We know it's okay to make mistakes. We can do anything. So that's all about encouraging excellence and empowering. What other things can you think of?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, in terms of those strategies, that, you know, reflective question as well. Like you said, you know, asking them the question back is also a good technique, because you said quite often they already know the answer. It's just about giving them that time to think about it. We confront any inappropriate behaviour. Not that we get it that often, but if it's something that they're doing at school that they want to speak about or whatever, we actually give them scenario-based exercises to look through and navigate as well.
It's all about thinking about how would you feel if the shoe was on the other foot.
That's right.
How would you want to be treated?
Definitely. So those are some of the strategies that we use, and we work with families, anyone who really cares about the well-being of young people. So whether you're a parent, a teacher, a community worker, maybe you work within the health profession, maybe your grandchild, your niece, anyone who cares about the well-being of young people, and sees mentoring as an investment, a lifetime investment to develop and support young people. That's literally who we're reaching out to, isn't it?
We've had people who purchase our mentoring gifts, our mentoring services through gift cards.
Yeah.
And they purchase gift cards, and they actually haven't even got a young person in mind. So they've actually donated gift cards to say, we actually care about investing in young ethnic minority females. Haven't got one that I can think of to mind, but can you donate your services to can I make a donation whereby you spend time with a female, with a young person, and just tell me how they're progressing. And we do that very, very often, whereby there might not be a specific person in mind, but it is a good way of actually investing in your community as well.
Definitely.
And giving back, given that we are a community interest company. So it's another way of giving back to your community as well.
Perfect.
Who else
so if anyone does want to purchase a gift card, a mentoring gift card, and have it donated for, we can allocate who we've got a list of young people that need our services but aren't in a position to actually access the services that we provide. So all our details on our website about how to gift a gift of mentoring.
Yeah, we'll give you our details at the end of today's session. But we also working with, you mentioned the education education sector as well, didn't you? So
anyone really who wants young people to achieve their potential, and their academic abilities really, and some of our outcomes really on our Big Sister program, we've seen improvement in attitude and engagement. We've seen an increase in our mentees' development and thinking skills. They've just had more direction on their career path as well. They've also had just a more springiness in their step, positive outlook.
And in terms of health and well-being as well.
Definitely. So we've had lots of success with the Big Sister program, improvement in relationships with family, peers, teachers, and just basically helping them to navigate their next steps more successfully as well. So, like we said, our key responsibilities are to add value to our mentees as well. So how can people get in touch with us? Okay, so to get in contact with us, we're on Instagram all the time, and that's at sister2sister.org1. You can also find us on Twitter. We're there too all the time, and that's S2S_CIC. And then obviously there's the website as well. So and also emails. But if you go on our webpage, you'll see all of our social media handles. And just to remind you, we are here again next week, Monday, between 2 till 3. Yep. So for those of you that are just tuning in and you've just happened to come across Ramadan Radio Wolves, this is Sister to Sister Talks, talking about the power of mentoring, 87.9 FM. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.